only difference between Justice League and Marvel Universe is that there's no Shield in Justice League, in the DC Universe. As much as you think you know, as much as you think that you can be, on a level of high-tech, ultimate security knowledge type of things in Marvel, Shield always knows more than you. You'll never know more than what Shield knows. But in DC, Batman always knows. The Justice League knows. Like, there's no one above the Justice League in that sense. Like, they know what's going on. They're in the Watchtower. They know what's up. Not even talking about any of the other planet type of differences of the worlds. But really just between DC and Marvel. As much as you think you know in Marvel, Shield always knows more than you. They're always more prepared than you are. Obviously, people run through Shield like it's nothing, because you have superpowers. But at the end of the day, Shield always has the intel on everything. Nick Fury always knows more than you. That's just a fact. Nick Fury is Batman. There's no other person in Marvel. I mean, okay, so I guess, Professor X or anything like that. It's like, because by that definition, Zatanna knows everything in DC. If that's the case. Nah, but it's like, I'm telling you. It's just crucial to all the SJW people that are, ruining comics, and to the communities that are talking about how comic books are ruined. At the end of the day, Roger Stern does a run after Gary Conway does a run after, Dennis O'Neil. All of these writers that took these characters seriously. They woke up and they breathed, ate, and slept their stories of these people that they were coming up with on a day-to-day basis. That would come out monthly. That they would come up with these stories, and they changed the way literature, and they changed the culture and all this history of comic books. If you're really gonna do a story from now on, if that's the case, if you're gonna start doing the next Iron Fist, it's not about if it's a girl, if it's a minority, if it's anything. It's dope as fuck. The story is what counts. Continue on with the continuity of everything that's going on. The Civil War of Marvel and a few other events that happened after that are the last greatest stories that ever happened. Because everything with the continuity up until Civil War. Because obviously the 90s had some, hit or miss stories. The 2000s had some hit or miss stories, but they're taking all the continuity that has been created since with DC with Final Crisis. So DC with Final Crisis, it's on that level of, after Crisis on Infinite Earths and all these different plot lines. You take Final Crisis and it's just, there's a level of understanding for DC's universe at this point. Which then, because everyone likes it, bleeds over into Marvel. And then they have some event where they're aware of the multiverse. But for DC, because there's no Shield, for DC to be on that level, that's what I'm saying. But, with Marvel, because DC's killing it, creating events and hyping up events, trying to get new readers. Don't worry about that. People are going to always love comic books. Keep on writing stories that inspire new generations. It's not about that, oh, you can be Steve Rogers too, or you can be Stephanie Rogers too. Who cares who it is? It's the story that you can connect to. It's a soap opera. You're reading like a 2.5 hour movie. And the good thing about the very beginnings of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, you got to take these movies with a lot of respect in that sense. You got to take these movies like it's a Lord of the Rings. You got to make these screens look like it's a world that you've never seen before on a movie screen, and just be an experience every time. It's not about doing close-up shots every 6 frames. Stop. It's got to be an organic movie made around a character that has its own unique story. It's not about doing an origin movie or rebooting the movie after three movies in a trilogy. Just keep the story going. There's no limit to how many James Bond movies that there can be. That's always been the one. It's like, it's cool. Just keep on doing James Bond. James Bond will be James Bond. Because there's no, that's been the movie comic book. That guy is the Batman, the Nick Fury of the movie universe, of all movies that have existed. Because you can do James Bond anywhere, and it's dope. Yeah, anyone can be Batman. Anyone can really be Nick Fury. But it's, it's not that the social justice warriors have a bad point. It's that they're really making it an effort to make it about their 24/7 living. That their life is consumed about being angry that they're, still not represented in, the groups of people that just really take chunks of their time on this earth and in their life, making time to just be angry at something. You know what I'm saying? It's like, all right, I understand. If you don't think that there's too many black women or Hispanic, handicapped, or whatever, and you want to make a story about that, that's cool. Make a superhero. Introduce him into the Marvel Universe. Don't just reboot a story. You have to take not just consideration and care and love for the character. It's you gotta take some respect. Like, you're handling the responsibility of carrying on the storyline and plot line of Iron Man from Tales of Suspense 39. Like, you're taking the responsibility away from these kinds of writers. And you're carrying on for whatever. If you really plan on writing for Marvel, or writing for just comic books in general, you're signing away your own conversation with yourself. And you got to be on a level that within yourself, it's not that you sell your soul. It's that you live for writing these comic books, writing about these characters and their, problems that go down. It's not just something that you do because, oh, I can write, let me write a comic book. I've been collecting comic books since I was 10. People have been collecting comic books since they were 2. Their parents have collected comic books. Like, there's a reason why we collect comic books. It's not just for, and I'm glad anyone can read, because that's been the point. Anyone can read comic books. It's just, there was a culture that didn't like it. for some reason. Or they just really didn't, understand that it's not about just funny, cute pictures. It's a real thing going on. This is a real battle going on right now. These are real problems. These are real situations going on. So if you're that kind of person, that you really want to take up the responsibility of writing and continuing on with the storyline, with the character development, creating new characters and potential storylines, and not just, huge events that just, come up with some stories, like really introduce characters that present a problem, present problems that, make the superhero question who he is, or who she is, or who it is, or what it is. Just present a story of growth. I love comic books. I know a lot of people love comic books. But I love comic books. You know what I'm saying? I know a bad movie when I see a bad movie. A bad comic book when I see a bad comic book. Ant-Man may not be your thing. Or Black Panther may not be your top 5. Or, whatever. But there's a reason why these characters still exist in this universe. It's why there are still writers that want to keep writing. It's why there's still, these people showing up in other stories eventually. It's because someone actually created it and kept going with it. Don't just remake that the next Black Panther is a white kid. And watch. Everyone will freak out, but it'll be a different conversation just slightly on the internet that kind of shifts the way that people look at comic books. It's the drama that people love about the inner drama of nerdism. Or nerd life or whatever. Because I don't even consider myself a nerd by the fact that I love playing video games, watching TV, reading a comic book, going out and playing basketball, going out and just chilling with people, hanging out and having a normal life, and just being posted and growing, going to work, making money, doing things. People that sit on their couch and just read books. They're like, the dude reads a book, or, It's like the literature and the real writing that I appreciate is comic book writing. Mark Twain's cool. I get it. Catcher in the Rye is an amazing book. That's awesome. But let's do a semester where we cover a topic of, it's an English class of creative writing or whatever, and the literature is comic books, graphic novels. And we talk about, 3 different topics. There's finals, there's tests, there's papers, group projects. And instead of reading Catcher in the Rye and To Kill a Mockingbird, Lord of the Flies, Huckleberry Finn, every book that we all read in high school, in middle school, and elementary school, it's comic books. That can be done. Making a studio, an independent movie studio, TV studio, that doesn't take corporate money. It just is what it is. Makes the American dream for them. It's not about getting any help. Of course, this is the United States, and everything can happen here. Because of the American dream, it's not about taking money because of a contract. It's that you work for yourself. and you make your own business. Make an independent movie studio that does real comic book movies. Its own production company that if you want to make a really dope Spider-Man movie, and, you know, it's not that you have to make a legal bound of, this is the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's like, if Lionsgate and some other company want to, you know, do that, like, hey, we'll fund that. It can be done. Comic books and comic book movies can be truly independent. Because that's how it's supposed to be. It's its own genre of things. Marvel, DC, Image, everyone. They have enough money to truly make independent movie studios that make not just good comic book movies, but it's comic book movies made by true comic book creators. It's not about the Oscars. It's not about all this other, you know, fame shit. It's not about it. Instead, we appreciate the creativeness of comic books. So let's make a movie. Frames can be different. Panels can change, can flow with the storyline. Different types of art can work. It's the story that you're trying to tell. Not every Marvel movie has to have the same type of formula. Not every movie has to look it's like, these characters are their own people. And when you make a movie like Marvel Civil War, the next time that there's any conversation of overhypeness, don't talk to me about how Marvel is changing until we buy back the Fantastic Four, X-Men, and everyone. When Marvel buys back all of their people and they buy out of the Disney deal, they have enough money to keep on doing what they're doing. Iron Man 1 was a dope movie. Comic book movie, and just overall. The Dark Knight is probably the comic book movie of all time, up until now. The Dark Knight is the movie, not just comic book movie. That was not just an Oscar movie. Oscars are just, it's a show now. It's not even real. It's a show now. People are getting awards. They're just being on TV. It's like, okay, cool. It's just, yeah, you know, everyone's just smiling for the shit. It's cool. It's just a show. It's just a show. It's just a show. When people start getting really just into what they're saying. Being independent is just how it is. It's the 21st century. Of course, I'm cool with people. It is what it is. But don't touch my money. That's any party. It's not about parties. It's America. We're the shit because we'll just get shit done. And we're all chill. It's the melting pot for a reason. We're all chill as Americans. I'd love to learn about your culture. I'd love to learn about this and, you know, what you do for this.